So in the last video, we looked at the Red Car Company and we did their contribution margin income statement along with their absorption income statement for scenario one, where they produce and sell 200,000 units. And when production equals sales, we can see that net income is the same under both circumstances. But what happens if production exceeds sales, which is the normal circumstance, right? Companies don't always sell out of every item they produce. So in scenario two, it tells us that Red Car has produced 200,000 units, but sold 175. Okay, so remember up here we had our selling price per unit of $8.50, variable cost per unit of $3 for manufacturing and $1.50 for selling and admin. And remember for contribution margin statement that these are period costs. For our absorption income statement, selling and admin is always a period cost. The difference we're going to find is that it's going to be the fixed manufacturing costs, because when we do our absorption income statement, we must only cost what we sell. That's a product cost. But for our contribution margin income statement, we're going to treat it as a period cost and expense all of it. So we're going to see there's going to be a difference in net income. So let's go down to our scenario two, production exceeds sales. So our sales in our case here, remember for scenario two, is 175,000 units. So if we sell 175,000 units at $8.50 per unit, we come up with 1,487,500. For our variable manufacturing, if you recall, that was $3 per unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 175,000 units times $3 per unit, give us $525, and then the variable selling and admin was $150 per unit. Okay, or $262,500. So our total variable expenses is going to equal $785,700. So our contribution margin is going to be the sales, right, minus the variable expenses. So that's going to give us 700,000 as a contribution margin. Now, when we do the contribution margin income statement, again, all fixed expenses are period costs. So we're going to take the full 120 and the full 95. Of course, selling and admin is always a period cost. Okay, and if you recall, that was our situation up here. So our total fixed expenses, right, is going to be $215. So our net income under this scenario, remember contribution margin minus fixed expenses, will be $485. So we're probably going to get a different net income here, right? And it's probably going to be higher because we can only expense what we sell for the fixed manufacturing. So we have the 1,047,500 in sales. Okay, our variable manufacturing is going to be the same as up here, right? It's going to be the 175,000 units times $3 per unit, right? So that's going to be $525. Our fixed manufacturing, however, is going to be different now, okay? Because what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to take our $120,000 and divide it by the 200,000 units we produced, and that will give us a cost per unit, and then we have to multiply it by the number of units we sell. So that's where the cost here, which under absorption costing is a product cost, is getting absorbed into cost of goods sold. Where In the contribution margin income statement under variable costing, this would be a period cost. So let's see what we come up with. Okay. So we're going to have the $120,000, right, divided by 200,000 units, okay, times the 175,000 sold, right? And that's going to give us 105. Okay? And we would expect that to be less because we didn't sell the full 200,000, just like we're assuming it up here. So our total cost of goods sold here is going to be 630. So our gross profit will be 857,500. So our variable selling and admin would be the same as it is up here, 262,500. Fixed selling and admin is always a period cost. That was 95. And then if we figure out our variable selling and admin and our fixed selling and admin, which we did, and we add them up, we get 357,500. So let's see what our net income comes out to be. So it's 500,000. So it's more, as it should be. Okay. Why? Because we didn't expense all of the fixed manufacturing like we did up here in the contribution margin income statement. So when production exceeds sales, our absorption costing income statement is almost always going to have a higher net income. We're going to see when production is less than sales, the opposite will be true. So we'll look at that in the next video. Thank you again for your attention.